Tonight we've posed the question, if masculinity, notice the if masculinity is in crisis, then what needs to change? Is it man, or is it society? Could be something else, but we're only going to ask that. So, we've asked 3 speakers this evening to speak to that question, to prompt our thinking, to tantalise our brain buds, and then after that we'll open the conversation up to you good people in the audience and see where it takes us. Now, I promised you there'd be some Australians tonight. I picked up this guy on the internet. That sounds so wrong. I'm going to regret saying that. Can we cut that bit from the video? I did pick him up on the internet, the video thing, and I just saw his work, and I thought, I look at him, and he was all there, all sort of looking windswept, this amazing exotic backdrop, giving his wisdom. And I thought, he's just a typical, look at that spiritual Aussie. Yeah, I like him. He's great. I'm going to find out about him. Didn't find out enough, because when he sent through his biog, from humble beginnings in a South Yorkshire mining town. I mean, geez, mate, you pulled it off well. So, third pom of the evening, and I promise then we will get on to some Aussies. So this is Nick Tovey. I don't know Nick that well, but when I saw his video, there was just something about his energy and the way he was approaching the conversation that massively appealed to me and really resonated with me, and I made this sort of mental note. There's a man, he's in Sydney, I like the look of that. And then when I arrived and I wanted someone to speak from that space here, I thought, oh, there's that bloke. Yeah, the video guy, I'll go and look, and we found him. And it's the first time we've met tonight, so thank you for being here, I really appreciate that. I won't preempt what he's going to speak to, but I'll just say he's coming from a kind of like a coaching, personal development perspective, but he's done some really meaty work sort of on the front line with some really challenging and difficult clients as well. Interesting clients. I don't know if they were difficult, but interesting clients. So he knows the world of what it takes to actually deal with people with challenges, and he's also really interested in how do we develop individuals into their full potential. So, to speak first to the question, if masculinity is in crisis, what needs to change? Is it man, or is it society? A lovely big hand for Mr. Nick Tovey, please.
Thank you. I want to firstly really acknowledge the women that are here tonight. It really warms my heart to see women turning up to support and stand with men for men's issues. So that is where I feel the work really is at the moment, is being each other's supports and advocates and champions. So on to the question, if masculinity is in crisis, who needs to change? Men or society? It's big questions, and I'm going to just address the first part of that initially.
Time's up. That's really great. Thanks, Nick.
Because that first part of the question for me really is a big key in what I see as being a lot of the problems in manhood and in the world. We equate masculinity with manhood. But what is masculinity? You know, as a man growing up, as a boy, we're always given these measures of manhood that we need to aspire to. You know, be a man, man up, grow a pair. You know, what does it mean to be a man? So for me, what I believe is that measure that we're never quite able to achieve, that bar that is always that little bit out of reach, causes a massive amount of shame and lack of self-belief in the heart of the collective heart of manhood. And I feel that is what creates a massive amount of disconnection from ourselves, from women, from other people, and from our world. Because masculinity is only half of the issue. My belief and my experience is that life in this material universe is a blend and a union of masculine and feminine. And what we have done by genderizing masculinity and femininity is actually cut ourselves off from half of the spectrum of what is available to us on this human experience. So when we look at the human experience through a lens of behavior, it's quite easy to attribute certain characteristics to masculinity and to femininity. So when we take masculinity, we can see, rationality, lineal problem solving, laser-guided penetrative focus, get shit done, go from A to B. It's lineal, it's forward focus. And of course, much, much more than that. When we take femininity, remember I'm not talking gender. Yeah. When we take femininity, we can think of emotionality, we can think of creativity, we can think of receptivity, we can think of vulnerability, lots of itties. We can think of compassion, empathy, and of course, much, much more. And the beauty of being a human being in this world is that we get to experience the whole spectrum from masculine to feminine. But by genderizing it, we actually do ourselves a disservice. Not only do we do ourselves a disservice, we do our partners a disservice, we do the world a disservice. But it doesn't have to be that way. My belief is that we are living in a really exciting time in the human evolutionary story. And that we are being given the opportunity to embrace and explore and embody the whole spectrum of masculine and feminine. And really challenge some of these old and possibly outdated ideas of what it means to be a man or a woman. And from there, from this place of exploration and possibility, we actually get to experience true deep connection with other people. I don't lose my balls when I embrace my femininity. In fact, quite to the contrary, I become a much more engaged man in the world. I become a much more engaged and compassionate father to my daughters. I have 3 daughters. I become a much more empathic and potent lover. And I become a much more engaged human on this journey to bring humanity and this world into a place of love and connection and kindness. So by exploring that whole spectrum and inviting ourselves and allowing ourselves to really embody and embrace and explore how masculine and feminine actually moves through me as a unique individual who happens to be born a man, then I can actually give much more of myself to the world. So I invite you to. So is there a crisis? I don't think there's a crisis in masculinity. Masculinity is perfect, always has been, always will be, as is femininity. Are there some issues? Absolutely. And thank goodness we've got amazing people with us here tonight that make a real effort to bring some light to those issues. Who's responsible? Who needs to change? Absolutely every one of us. To really challenge and address and own our own preconceived perceptions of what it means to be a man and allow them to fall so we can actually emerge into something new. Thank you.